If the Portland Rose Garden is heaven on earth, this is a close second. Row after row after row after row of dahlias. And it is so beautiful. Look at this bud. It's actually black. Well, hello friends. Welcome back to another episode of Honey Apple Farm. Today we are tiptoeing through the dahlias because I'm going to share the trip I took at the end of August to go see my friend Chelsea Johansson at Rainy Sunday Ranch. Now, Rainy Sunday Ranch is a dahlia farm that's in Washington on the western foothills of the Cascades, and my gosh, you guys, it was an absolutely glorious long weekend. I can't wait to show you all the dahlia footage, so let's get started. Trains, I love trains. This is the Cascades that goes all the way up and down the West Coast. One of my very favorite things about taking the train north to Seattle is the awesome scenery that you get to see out the window. North of the Columbia, the scenery changed to what I think of as traditional PNW trees out the window. Of course, there was a lot of buildings and stuff as well, but what a beautiful drive to be able to look out the window and see green, green, and more green. Heading north out of Seattle, the train goes directly next to Puget Sound, which I have forgotten, having only taken this train once before. And the views out the window, you guys, were glorious. I was the only one on my car plastered to the window. I don't even know how that's possible. I did see some blowholes as I was going past, which my friends later told me were orcas. Unfortunately, I did not see any breach, although even if I had, I'm not sure the footage would have been all that great from the train. It has been a couple of years since I was out on a sound or something that approaches an ocean. I had forgotten how much I love being near that kind of water specifically. Lakes and rivers are good too, but there's something about the wildness of the water and the intriguing islands in the distance and sand beneath your feet that just speaks to me in a way that no other place does. We are most definitely back in farm country. No longer right on the sound, which is unfortunate, but definitely a kind of beauty all its own. The morning sun is up over the tree line and just starting to hit the fields. That is beautiful. We're going to take a tour of the dahlia farm, and I'm so excited. Sorry, I'm shaking you guys around, and I shouldn't be, but I'm super excited. I don't even know where to look. There's things there, there's things here, there's things here. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, you guys, this entire row is night silence, and it is so beautiful. Look at this bud. It's actually black. Like, it's actually black. This is the new seed test garden. So like most plant varieties, if you have something that's new to your property, especially if you're breeding them for a business, you want anything new coming in to be separated from all the other things so that they don't get your existing stock sick. So all the new stuff is here, where if it gets sick, it can only get the other new stock sick and not all the existing ones. That is the M6 Zelda. I love the stripey. Love it. This is just a small portion of the dahlia fields, and already I think this is riches beyond description. This one's split. right down the middle, and yet it has a very vibrant green going that way and a very vibrant green with a bud on it coming this way. Plants can sometimes be amazingly resilient. Chelsea says that she's not fond of the burgundies because they're too vibrant. I think this is fantastic, but what we both love about it are these little white tips, and Chelsea says they're different on every flower. So sometimes there aren't any, sometimes there's a lot. Here's another one. It's the same variety. I love that color. I absolutely do. Plus, I love saying burgundy. It just sounds pretentious. So these are called Lakeview Lucky, which I think is the silliest name. I should think they should be called like Autumn Sunrise or something like that. They're just... I'm not a big fan of orange stuff, you guys, but this one is just so beautiful. Goldilocks lives up to its name. I am so excited about that. That is beautiful. And we think that's one of the varieties Chelsea sent me. So if mine ever actually grow and germinate and bloom, hopefully we'll have one of those. So we've entered the water lily row, and I was like, water lily row? This is a dahlia. And guys, I mean, it looks like a water lily. Who would have thought a dahlia could look like a water lily? And yet, look at this. There's all kinds of them that look like water lilies. Apparently it's a design of a dahlia, and they're a little bit more delicate in an arrangement. They're just kind of a little bit floofier. Meet Holly Hill Cotton Candy. It is a cactus variety for obvious reasons. I love this color combination, as you guys know. Anything that's like a deep pink to red with yellow is absolutely going to be one of my favorites. Oh, Peter would love that. Peter is really into the purples. That is gorgeous. Look at this.
That's a Weston Spanish dancer.
Spanish dancer. I'm totally in shade right now. There we go. Yeah, they could do the flamingo. So cute, and they're so small. I mean, that's an inch maybe across, but it's perfect. And look at you, your little one just starting to come out. So I've been asking Chelsea about how to breed them, and apparently dahlias have all kinds of fun combinations, and this whole row here is stuff that's new from seed. But these look pretty good for from seed, random lottery ones. I mean, there's quite a lot of these I would be happy to grow.
And a lot of people like growing from seed for the bees because they're going to tend to be more open-centered.
Okay.
Bees prefer because they can get to
okay, now this one looks like it should be under the sea or something. Like it looks like an anemone.
The edges in the U.S. usually we call it laciniated.
Okay.
Overseas, sometimes they use fimbriated.
Laciniate. I learned so much from Chelsea and this visit to the dahlia farm. You guys, I've never been to a flower farm before, not in real life. I've watched several of them on YouTube. So it was absolutely amazing to go in person.
I learned that part of the reason that dahlias are difficult to breed is they have more genetic material than most flowers. And so when they're recombining with other nearby plants, they just have so many more choices. And so the seeds rarely breed true to the parents, which is exciting because you can breed all different kinds, and also a little bit frustrating if you're a breeder. I had no idea. So now I know. The other really cool thing about going to Chelsea's place, and also a first for me, even though I am attempting to build a homestead here and have been watching homesteading YouTube videos and I work for a homesteading media company, Chelsea's homestead is the first homestead I have actually visited, like where there are crops growing and things like that. And so probably about half the video footage I have for you guys is actually non-dahlia things, although the dahlias were amazing, non-dahlia things that were just me delighting in being on a homestead for the very first time.
Good morning, babies. I am not the one who feeds you. I'm so sorry, but you're very cute. Good morning, baby Kirkerbits. I see I'm not the only one out and about this morning. And just for reference, that's my finger, which is probably about 3 inches long. This seems like a fitting place to start our tour of this amazing dahlia farm stroke homestead. I'm actually pretty pleased because I recognize a lot of what's in here. So those are nasturtiums, those orange and yellow ones, and hollyhocks in the back, which I've tried growing a couple times and haven't had any luck with. Roses, of course, and then we've got some sweet alyssum and roses in here. So unlike the arches that we did, which are a 16-footer, Chelsea likes to use the 8-foot ones because they're easier to carry and easier to get in the car and then just, connect them as necessary, which I think might be kind of genius. And then we have possibly one of my favorite patches, which is the zinnia patch, and it's amazing because even in the couple days I've been here, these have really popped open. Not surprising, given that we've had temperatures up in the hundreds. That red one back there is beautiful. And then this is multicolored yarrow, which I have also been interested in growing. And then this sunflower, which has gone absolutely nuts. So many heads that it won't stand up straight. Katniss has come up for love a couple of times. But when Katniss is done, she nips you, and I'm not terribly thrilled with that. So, hey, baby, you're on YouTube now. So under new life goals, we have these wood storage sheds, which are new additions, and they had them custom made. They are fantastic. Not that the one we don't have isn't great. The one we have now is totally functional, but I love that these ones could be stacked up super duperly high, and they come with roofs, etc. There's 2 of them. I just think they are phenomenal. And then here we have tomato trellises. I have thought about using cattle panels that way for trellises for tomatoes, but I've never done it, so I'm excited to see that. And then I think there's some corn and some other stuff, more tomatoes over here. Because really, can you have too many tomatoes? Different opinions about that. And behind the tomato patch, we have the regular chicken flock, and beyond them is the goat paddock with the livestock guardian dog. One thing this property doesn't have yet is a greenhouse, and what you see before you is how that's about to change. So that was laid, I think she said a couple weeks ago, and their greenhouse is being delivered on Tuesday, so that will be very exciting. And then over here, this chicken coop is the for escape artist coop, because you'll notice the regular pasture is just open, and most of the chickens stay where they're supposed to, but there's a couple that don't, and so they are in, as it was described to me, the Fort Knox of chicken coops. This, I think, is genius. This is an old manure spreader that was here when they arrived, and they filled it with soil, and it's now their iris bed and comfrey, and I'm not 100% sure what's taking over the other side. But what an interesting way to reuse. Basically, it's a giant planter, which I thought was a great idea. This is more of the food garden. Pumpkins, zucchinis, corn, roses along one end, because we're classy that way. We have an old wheelbarrow on our property, and I'm thinking about doing something similar because I think it's super cute. And then this might be, especially this row here, might be one of my favorite places. So this is designed as a come and cut again garden, which obviously has some different things going on this late in the season. However, this is all different kinds of celosia, which I have tried to grow a number of times in Tulsa, and it never took. I really like it because it's got that plumy look, and then it also has what I call the brain coral look, which I just think is weird and kind of a neat alternative texture. Plus it comes in this really deep red that I just love. This is a special designer kind of echinacea that gets a really, really deep red color as opposed to the traditional purple color. Like most designer seeds, they are much more expensive than their naturally occurring counterparts, but that color, especially with the sun hitting it in the morning, oh my. And this is pollinator heaven. This is mint. And the way it's kept under control is simply by mowing it down around the edges, which, if you're not going to put mint in a container, is what you do. But it's really pretty in the morning with all the different flower fronds. This is amaranth, and that is a beautiful color. And I have tried growing amaranth, and specifically that color of amaranth, a couple different times, and it's never stuck. So to see one successfully grown has renewed my interest in it. It is technically a grain. I think you can eat it, but I mostly love it for the dark color, not just the color of the flowers, but also the dark color of the foliage. And take a look at the color of that stem. It is as red as the flowers. You guys, someday, this is, how long have you guys been here?
7 years.
Yeah, so like 7 years from now, I'm not sure we're going to be quite this prolific on our property because it's not that big, but like this is the goal, right? To have just fields and fields of things that are exciting, except ours is going to be more like a forest garden. But it's very inspiring to come out here and see what you can do over time because, as you all know, I'm pretty overwhelmed with our property this year.
In addition to all the dahlias and all the homesteading stuff, I was completely blown away at how beautiful the area right around Chelsea's Dahlia Farm is.
It's hard to believe that it was 98 yesterday. It feels so wonderful now. It's slightly cool, and I'm off for a morning perambulation in this beautiful, beautiful part of the world. I love this. We are all in shade at the top of the mountains, ridges, or not. What is it about weeping willows that are just so intriguing? The sun is just coming up now over the peak, and the road is bathed in early morning light. Gosh, that is beautiful. Good morning, cow friend. Other cow friends. Hi, how are you guys? Behold Mount Baker, which we saw a number of times yesterday from the west side, which is the left side of the picture here, but I couldn't get a good shot. And then out for a walk this morning, here she be. I have a 5-foot wingspan, 5'2" technically, because that's my height. And I think maybe 3 or 4 would get around that at the base. Look how big it is compared to the couple next to it. Wow, look at that. That whole chunk came off the trunk. That's insane.
Since I have never been east of the I-5 corridor in either Washington or Oregon, Chelsea and family were very kind and took me on a couple of exploratory adventures. The first one was to Rockport State Park.
There is nothing quite like walking around a Pacific Northwest forest and looking up and up and up and up and up and up to these very, very tall trees. The other thing that's very PNW is the moss that's on all the dead branches, which you can really see. Coming up here. Look at that. It's so fuzzy. God, look at this, you guys. This is as tall as I am. It's like, yeah, this is my eyes. That is the top of my eyes. That thing is huge. It's taller than you, and you gotta grow a lot so you can be taller than it is. Look at that. Look at that.
We also went out to the ocean, which was madly exciting because I love the ocean and I have not been to the ocean probably since before COVID, so at least 5 years.
Good morning, friends. Today we are at Deception Pass State Park and we're gonna go down to the ocean. I am so excited right now. We got out of the car. It smelled like salt. I now smell like sunscreen. I haven't been to the ocean in probably at least 5 years and I love the ocean. It is absolutely one of my happy places on earth, and I'm so, so excited to get down there and ocean. Time to beach. Absolutely beautiful.
So before you get down to the cove, there is this beautiful statue of Ko-Kwal-Awut. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly. It is not a totem pole, although you can see the obvious differences. It is a legend from the Salish people about a daughter of a chieftain who was out and about doing her thing one day, and a sea god saw her and wanted to marry her, and they fell in love instantly, and they went back to her village and asked permission to be married. Her parents were like, no, you just came out of the ocean. We don't know anything about you. So he then stopped their fish, did all kinds of horrible things, and the Ko-Kwal-Awut went back to the parents and said, maybe we should rethink this. And they said, okay. So they got married, and for a while they required her to come up on land every year, and eventually she was so sad on land that they let her go back to the water where she watches over her people.
God, what would it be like to live up on those cliffs and see this view all the time? There was a time in my life when I dreamed of living on the coast, and I still think that would be a fabulous experience. Ooh! Oh, that's cold. That is cold. Here we are. Crab sighting! It's big too. We're going tide pooling for the first time in a couple decades. Well, hello, little crab friend. Thanks for moving. Otherwise, Chelsea would not have spotted you. I believe this purple thing down here is the ochre sea star. And then, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. There's something right there, and I think that's the Red Sea cucumber.
According to the sign, these are Christmas anemones, but I gotta be honest with you all, they kind of look like very colorful globs of mucus.
This pool was probably the most fun because there was so much stuff still in it that you could see moving around, and also the footing is a lot easier. It is the tiniest crab. It is not even, maybe about the size of a dime or a nickel. It's really interesting, and I think there's another one just there. Here we are at the anemone pool. Look at all of them in here. Very easy to see why they are considered flowers under the sea. And very hard not to touch one because they look awesome. So Chelsea spotted what we're pretty sure is a jellyfish. Not too far from shore. Not sure what else you would call it if it's not a jellyfish. I wonder if their life is serene as it looks from here. Just floating along with your little umbrella. We went all the way down to the flag and are now on our way back. Oh, I could live here.
On our way home, we parked next to this very interesting truck at the feed store, and I was finally able to capture some footage of the Cascade Range from the car. This was a little bit difficult because, as you can see, there's a reflection off the camera, and also I was very full of ice cream because we stopped at Snow Goose, which is Chelsea and family's very favorite place to go for ice cream after going to the beach. And I was extremely full of a delicious lemon and raspberry ice cream cone. The long weekend went by so fast, and unfortunately, I had to leave, but not without one last exploratory adventure.
I'm out for a little stroll before I get on the bus, and this is the Skagit County Courthouse, and notice all the U's are written as V's.
I find myself fascinated with these memorials to past war veterans, and I find myself taking pictures of them every time I am in a new to me location.
Right on, right on, right on. So here we are, Mount Vernon, overlooking the Skagit River. This beautiful kind of light green color. There's a bridge up river. If we were able to follow this river for quite a distance, we would end up back at Chelsea's dahlia farm. Oh, looks like somebody's coming in to the boat landing. Fortunately, I can't stay too long today. I have to walk back to the train station and get my bus to Seattle and then train back to Portland. I'm wishing I had more time because there's this beautiful hiking and walking trail all the way up and down here. You guys know I love a good flat walking trail next to a body of water. It's one of my favorite things. I hate to leave, but I need to turn around and go back to the station. What a beautiful spot.
Even though this trip to Rainy Sunday Ranch and the Dahlia Fields was only a 4-day weekend, it felt so full. It was such a rich and rewarding experience, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I want to give a huge thank you to Chelsea and her family for hosting me and driving me to and from the bus station and taking me out and taking me for ice cream and just sharing the beautiful place that they live. I will put Rainy Sunday Ranch details on the screen if you're interested in ordering any of Chelsea's dahlias. I know she would appreciate the business, and as you've seen firsthand, the dahlias are absolutely glorious. So thank you very much for being here, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye for now.